I'm Devin. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where I talk about a bunch of analog productivity stuff in this digital saturated world that we live in and that we work in. Today, I'm making a very simple video. How to put together an Everbook. This is great for those of you that have been in bullet journals or other notebook systems and you're just seeing some Everbook content and you want to check it out. I'm going to walk through a handful of very simple steps that you could create your own little Everbook experiment. It's honestly not that hard. So here we go. So the Everbook is made from 4 essential components. And we will begin with the biggest one, a cover. A cover. You can use kind of anything as a cover. Here I have what used to be a leather-bound journal that I bought from Barnes & Noble. There used to be paper in here, which is where all this stuff is the glue that used to hold all those pages in here. This had been sitting around. It has this nice little cord that I can wrap around and cinch it tight to keep it closed, which is really great. And this has been my Everbook cover for more than a year. You can use anything, just needs to have a bit of a spine, like this, because you're going to stack it full of pages. And then I would recommend try to get a relatively durable material. This is leather, but I have made one out of duct tape myself. If you've ever made duct tape fabric little projects, you could do that. So that's something number 1. The next thing you will need are called bundles. Now, the bundle, you can have a bundle. Think of it as your top level organizing principle. And so it's basically you take a piece of paper, this is a cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and you fold it into a folder, but you don't call it a folder. It'll make sense why we don't call it a folder in just a moment. Man, that was a terrible fold. Ooh! You're seeing this in real time, folks. I did not edit this. Okay, so we've got our first bundle, totally empty. Now, that is organizing principle number 2. So number 1 is the cover, and then the bundle. The bundle, shocker, it goes inside the cover. Okay, great. What's next? Next is a folder. This is a standard 8.5 by 11, just white piece of paper. Copier paper. Not fancy cardstock. This is super simple. You could use cardstock for this if you want, but when I make a folder, I typically use a standard white piece of paper. And you're going to do the same thing we did with the bundle. You're just going to make a folder out of it, because it's a folder. It's a folder, it's a folder, it's a folder, it's a folder. Okay. We'll come back to how this works first, but that's what the next thing that you need. The 4th and final, let's call it organizing principle. I don't know, there's probably a better way for that. But you're going to need paper. Loose leaf pieces of paper. Now, you'll see some people, they'll just use a full-size sheet of paper and fold it in half, and that will become their paper, or they'll cut this. I went on Amazon and just bought some half-letter sized blank sheets of paper, so I can always have a bunch with me. Okay, so there you go. You need the cover, the bundle, the folder, and paper. And let's look at how these work together. So, cover aside, let's start out with the bundle. Like I said earlier, the bundle is the top level organizing principle. And let's say you're following, for your own productivity, you're using the building a second brain method. That's how you've organized your stuff. And so that uses the acronym PARA. P-A-R-A, for projects, areas, resources, and archives. And so let's say you've picked green. Green will represent any project that you're working on. So this bundle will hold stuff related to that project. And so maybe try to think of one. Let's say you're planning a wedding. So this is our wedding planning. Write that here. Wedding planning. Great. Okay. Now, stuff's going to go in here, related to the wedding. But here, you might have, you're going to have a combination of things to go in here. One might be just a piece of paper that you say, let's just say I don't know, I was going to say the rehearsal dinner details. Rehearsal dinner. Right, now this is where you're going to use this piece of paper now to plan out the details from the rehearsal dinner. There's nothing more to it yet. That can go right in here. But here you go. You're in your planning, and you go, all right, I've got one paper that's his guests, and I'm working out another paper that is her guests. And I need both of these, but when I'm done working on it, I want to put them away so they're kept together. Well, ta-da! That's why we have a folder. And so here's our folder. I'll label this with red. Guest lists. Guest lists. So here we have our folder. And there are 2 sheets of paper that are going to live in here. Ta-da! And then all of those are going to live in the wedding planning bundle. And of course, this bundle is going to live inside of our Everbook cover with all of our other bundles. And so this might get quite thick as you add up all of your projects and areas and resources. Probably won't use this for your archive, but you know, everyone can do it how they want to do it. One last tip I wanted to share, because as you saw in the beginning, we did one fold on this spine. Now the trouble with that is sometimes as you build these out, they can get quite thick, quite full of things. I don't really have a good example for you. Do I? Yes, I do. Here we go. I have a bundle that I use all the time called Project Support. And sometimes it can get pretty full of paper that just the one fold is not good. And I need it to be... I don't want it to have any trouble as I fill it up. And what happens is if you... Well, I'll just say if you've ever just folded it one time and then put too much paper in it, you've experienced why that doesn't work. So here's my simple solution. Instead of it being just a single fold, we're going to add 2 more folds to that spine. And we do that by doing about a 1/4 inch. See how they're... You might not be able to see it very well, but I've got about maybe 1/8 of an inch pulled back. And then I'm going to fold it right there. So it didn't really work very well. All right, let's try this again. Keep it still. Fold it, fold it, fold it. Okay. There, so if you can see it's back. It's pulled back there. Now we're going to flip it over and do it the same thing. Try to get it nice and lined up. Keep it pulled back. Get that crease. Keep everything nice and stable and get that crease. Bam. There we go. All right, use my thumb to smush it down. Okay. If I can get this to look right. You can see the fold is a bit, it looks more like a book spine. And so now as I fill this with pages, it won't get all cattywampus on me. It'll stay nicely organized and rigid with a square spine for more documents and, you know, more folders and more loose leaf pages. So, I hope that is a super useful introduction. That you can take your papers and your folders, which are also full of pages, put them inside some good bundles, put that inside an Everbook cover that is a good format that you like, good material that's nice and durable, and you can take it with you, charging cord notwithstanding, that'll work for you. Thanks for watching. Peace.